Being a world superpower must be interesting. There's always something to compete for. Take the United States, for example. During World War II, the US obliterated Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear bombs. Russia heard about it and got super jealous. So, it started to make its own nuclear bombs just to prove to the US that it wasn't the only superpower on the block. Historians call this the nuclear arms race, and this race would go on to birth the space race, the winner of which seems to be everyone's guess. Anyway, guess what race the United States has got itself into this time? And guess what country it's racing against? As it turns out, the United States is currently locked in an AI arms race, and it's competing with China of all countries. Well, I guess it's been a good run because there's no way humanity survives this century. Seriously though, there's nothing lighthearted about the AI arms race because, not surprisingly, AI weapons make for highly effective killing machines. In Ukraine, for instance, AI is being used to power fully autonomous weapons that can go out on their own, find their own targets, and then attack those targets all on their own. No human intervention needed. Terrorist organizations must have been drooling when they heard about it. But don't think killer robots, or lethal autonomous weapon systems, laws, as they are fondly called by the powers that be, are new. These guys have actually been around for a while. In 2020, when the Libya conflict was waxing strong, Turkish-made Karga 2 drones in fully automatic mode were deployed and used to attack soldiers. The United Nations says that this officially marked the dawn of the age of the killer robots. And now, the United States, China, the United Kingdom, India, Iran, Israel, South Korea, Russia, Turkey, they all want in. In the past few years, these guys have invested millions of dollars researching the possibilities of AI in the future of conflict, and this worries everybody. I mean, how else do you think it's going to play out when you have two armies of complex computer systems left to face off in an uncertain and competitive environment? We'll all be dead, obviously. That's why there are loud cries for regulation and even an outright ban on autonomous weapons, especially from the global south. Not like it would even change anything because agreement isn't even the issue, compliance is. But, of course, the big boys in the world of robotics don't even see what all the fuss is about in the first place. The United States and Russia have pretty much said that there's no need for a legally binding treaty to prevent countries from using autonomous weapons. Their argument is that the existing rules of law regarding regular weapons should also apply to autonomous weapons. And if everyone could just play by the rules, then we'll be fine. Yeah, right, because whoever broke a law, right? Whatever the case, it's very likely that the use of unmanned weapons will be negotiated among countries just like the use of nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, and certain tactical weapons have been negotiated. In the meantime, though, all well-funded military powers continue to do everything they can to not be left behind in this new race. So, world, prepare to discover more innovative and efficient ways to meet your doom because Pandora is out of her box now and there's no way to put her back in. Still, this conversation will be one-sided if we don't acknowledge the fact that AI-powered autonomous weapon systems actually have some benefits for the military. For instance, the use of unmanned AI weapons could mean that more soldiers get to return home after war as opposed to dying on the battlefront. These killer robots may be literal psychopaths as weapons. But their lack of humanity actually makes them the perfect sacrificial lambs for tasks on the battlefields that would, otherwise, be high risk for humans. Also, since AI does not grapple with biases and errors in judgment like we do, its targeting will always be 100% accurate, which could help to reduce accidental human casualties. On top of that, autonomous weapon systems will also be of great help when troops need to defend their base. They feature lightning-fast detection algorithms, which means that they can detect and eliminate potential threats far faster and more accurately than humans will. Plus, not many people are entirely psyched to join the military for obvious reasons. So, the US military, for instance, has major recruitment problems on its hands right now. AI-powered forces can help to manage that problem. But the benefits of AI to the military do not end on the battlefield. Off the battlefield, AI is even more helpful. Now, if you joined the military hoping for a fast-paced, adventurous life, then better hope to God that you're sent off to war, because outside of the battlefield, being in the military is a lot like working at Walmart or Amazon. A lot of logistics, maintenance, moving stuff from one place to another, balancing the books, etc. I even learned that there's very little digitization in the US military currently. So, trying to get information from a specific part of the military typically involves several staffers who might sometimes need days to complete your request. Not only is this embarrassing, the situation is also easily resolved with the use of AI. And thankfully, the US Army is exploring that possibility right now. In fact, if all goes well, the US Army will be leaning on AI for military strategy in the future. A US military team already ran some experiments in July where it asked some large language models, think ChatGPT and Bard, to help plan a military response to an escalating global crisis. Bloomberg News also jumped on the trend and asked Scale AI's Donovan whether the US could deter a conflict with China in Taiwan and who would win if a war broke out. By the way, if you didn't know, the US and China are fighting over Taiwan. Anyway, for the experiment, Bloomberg's team fed the model with about 60,000 pages of open-source data, including US and Chinese military documents. And after a prompt was entered, the AI returned a response containing a series of bullet points and explanations within seconds. Some of its suggestions included a direct US intervention with ground, air, and naval forces. But it also warned that the US would struggle to quickly subdue China's army, which sent literal chills down my spine because China don't play and a highly effective Chinese military isn't something the world needs right now. Thankfully, Donovan concluded its response by saying that there is little consensus in military circles regarding the outcome of a potential military conflict between the US and China over Taiwan. Now, imagine what abilities like this could mean for military strategizing. Especially when acting fast could save more lives, this could be a major breakthrough for military forces everywhere. But as you might already suspect, there are risks, not least of all how generative AI can return incorrect answers with brazen confidence. And then there's also the fact that malicious individuals could hack a model by poisoning the data that feeds it. So, yes, AI might return a rockstar military strategy that would make Napoleon weep in mere seconds only for you to get to the battlefield and realize that you've just walked into an ambush. The United States says it understands that, though, and that's why it's working with tech companies who will help them test and evaluate how much they can trust AI-enabled systems. In the meantime, I'd like to know where your head is at with all this killer robot business and the leveraging of AI by military powers. Do the benefits outweigh the risks? Is this something humans should be tinkering with? For me, personally, I can't shake off my dread at the idea that machines lacking human empathy get to walk about on the battlefield and decide who lives and who dies. But I also can't deny the real benefits that these weapons can bring, one of which, ironically, is how they can help prevent needless death on the war front. But hey, what do you think?